Spencer and I are speakers. We get a lot of questions about speaking and public speaking. And after the first question, of course, is do I really have to go up on stage? Because people would rather poke themselves with a fork. And yet, as we've talked about, that one of the topics on this podcast YouTube channel is going to be stuff with helping our kids or helping people from younger generations with speaking. Today, we're going to talk about something that Spencer has been putting together, working on with helping you, well, anyone, we say like our kids, but it could be adults as well, with better speaking and speaking skills. And we have a variety pack of reasons why this is useful in today's world. There we go. I just opened it up, Spencer. How was that?
Amazing. Hello,
Amazing.
everybody. Yeah, I mean, for me, look, I have two teenage sons. One is 18 and one is 16. And I spend a lot of time thinking about what is the world of work going to look like for them, because they're about to go into the world of work in the next 5 years. And this is the 5 years where really, probably for the first time ever, we have absolutely no idea what the world of work is going to look like. And we probably have a gut feel that what our kids are being taught at school is not going to be too relevant in the next few years. So I spend a lot of time thinking about what skills do our kids need and do we need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
at least take part in the next few years, because it definitely has a feeling of, whereas the reality that we grew up with and our parents grew up with and their parents grew up with was pretty much you go to school and then you go get a job working for a company. And two generations ago, that was you would work for the same company for 40 years. And you and I, we worked for 40 different companies in 40 years
yeah,
and worked
yeah,
for ourselves a bit. But there was always this element of like, you can get a job and you can work. And I think that's probably going to change, because I think what we're seeing is companies are going to be able to do the same that they're doing now, but with less people, or grow in a way that they didn't think was possible without having to take on extra people. So it definitely feels to me, at least, that the getting a job with a company is not going to be the standard, and that will become more of a niche thing, if you
yeah,
like,
yeah,
which I guess like begs the question, okay, so how are we all going to earn money? Like, how are our kids going to earn money? And yeah, if you listen to the likes of Elon Musk and the people who are building the new world, and yeah, they will tell you this lovely dream of, we're going to live in this age of abundance where you can have any
yeah,
services and any money that you want. And I think most of us don't buy that. I think most of us realize that, yeah, generally it's the people who run those companies and the governments that either make all the money or do it in a way that doesn't really benefit most of us. So I think absolutely we need to think about being more entrepreneurial, that we need
yeah,
to be able to find different ways to make our money. And I guess that's where I've been spending a lot of time, because I just think you've got to be more of an entrepreneur than working for a company. If intelligence is free now, if knowledge work is going to go away,
yeah,
then yeah, it's either probably the people who make the most are going to be plumbers and electricians. I think that's definitely one route to go, unless Elon Musk's Optimus robots are running around doing plumbing and
right.
mechanics, and who knows, maybe one day. But
Yeah, that. But I see that's less soon than like I just heard a statistic that high school graduates are getting jobs more quickly than college graduates. I don't know if that's just in the States or whatever, but because like the college graduates, theoretically or typically, it's the more whatever intellectual job. And so it's like a niece of mine, I think she's like a data analyst or something. And I've well, hopefully she's not watching. Well, maybe she should be watching. I was going to say, hopefully she's not watching this because I'm about to say something that's brutal. But on the other hand, maybe she should watch this because I mean, if anything AI can do, it's analyze massive amounts of data and analyze it and make reports and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so one, so Spencer just mentioned entrepreneurship, which is a big topic. And in fact, back to our poll where where we put our ideas. I wish we could add more items, but I would love to add entrepreneurship because I agree. I think that is such a biggie.
Yeah.
Uh,
What, what's
today, so
what's the
go
what's
ahead.
the poll, Bradley? Tell us what
Ah,
the poll is.
yeah. We'll get
Where
a
is it?
link in
What
there
is
too.
it? Yeah.
The poll from last week that we made was there were four options, sort of help us answer what would you like Spencer and Bradley to talk about in this podcast YouTube channel. And the options were health, wealth, relationships, and purpose. And currently, there's a dead heat tie with health and relationships. And then in third place is wealth. And in fourth place is purpose. I think we should also have a new poll because maybe we should have a poll on a regular basis. But like the entrepreneurship idea, I think I would rather put that in rather than purpose, for example. So
Yeah. I think yeah, I think it's I mean, because we how many people did we have answer the poll so far?
so far, 136.
136. So it would be good to get if you're watching this now, there will be, I guess, Bradley, you'll put a link somewhere obvious
Yeah,
near the YouTube video that they can answer the poll as well, because that
yeah,
would be nice to get it up to at least a few hundred or 1,000 people to
right.
see, yeah, what's in your mind at the moment, or if you think, oh, I don't want any of those that are on that list in the poll, but I really want somebody to help me with this. So you can
Yes,
also write that in the comments and say, this
yeah.
is what we'd love you to cover.
I would even prefer that. I would prefer a comment as
Yeah.
to what specifically you have a specific idea that you'd like us to talk about. I would love that because then we get the real feedback rather than our sort of guesstimates at these. I mean, Spencer and I were just talking before we hit record. We said relationships is tied with health. We're like, what is that? What is that? What is relationships? So okay. I am gonna tie that in here really quickly because I'd like to bring it back to we were talking about jobs and entrepreneurship and stuff. And one thing that Spencer showed me before we hit record was this. We were talking about sort of a resume and how can you then show, let's say you are looking to get a job, whether you're younger or older, you're looking to get a job and you can do the standard resume with a list of your things. But then Spencer has put together, it was gorgeous what you did and you made it very like gamified
Bringing
and
it.
you were very practical about it about yeah, there we go. Show the thing you made and then show the thing you improved, point to a result you got or explain a lesson you learned.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
yeah, for me, this is very more hands-on and practical for somebody to understand rather than, I was assistant manager at company XYZ and I helped improve blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think, if I was 18 today, even I'm now 52, but as at 52, I think the same that like if you are going to try and get a job out in the world, it absolutely you have to be familiar with digital tools. You have to have like a digital fluency almost. So if you can actually talk about, here's something I built using AI, here's something that I learned, here's how I change something for the better, I think that's much more likely to get you noticed, whether it's, hey, come be a freelancer and help me do this in my company, or here's a job, come do that inside this company. So I think
Yeah,
yeah, we need to really figure out how can we prove here's something that we made, here's something that we made better, here's how we brought some results. And I think that's definitely a way to get noticed and to earn money
yeah,
because I still see as much as the tools are absolutely amazing, and you know, if you look at it, the various tools now can pretty much do, I think the latest is like 80% of all knowledge work can be done as good as a human, if not better than a human.
Wow.
But what we see is people inside organizations still aren't using all of that capability.
Yeah.
We're still, we as humans will be much slower in our ability to get to where these tools can do everything. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, I think there's a lot of people out there that if they see a young person who is building exciting stuff and getting results and doing the thing, that is going to allow you to earn money, whether it's freelance, whether it's in a job, whether it's whatever. Talking about it on YouTube, it doesn't really matter. But I
Yeah.
just think, like, yeah, there's certain things now that we need to do if you want to earn money. It's why
And
I've been building tools with AI to figure it out. Yeah.
yeah. And as the common phrase goes these days, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to someone who knows how to use the AI.
Yeah.
And so, and then I kind of want to bring this back a little bit. I opened it up with speaking,
Yeah.
and because I see this, and it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and we were even half joking, although I think it'd be pretty cool if you had your resume even in more of a visual like this. However, back to
Yeah.
speaking.
I have a
So,
story about that, but yeah.
sca- sca- scarier of scarier. I mean, I know I talked about public speaking and people are super scared of that. What I think is even scarier than public speaking is a job interview. And I say this because I haven't had a job interview and I can't remember the last job interview I had. But no, I can't. I can't. I had a job interview like a year and a half ago. I had one.
Yeah.
And so what has to happen? You're there, real human, probably talking to at least one other real person. And maybe this is a later stages. Maybe you've already submitted the resume or submitted the document or whatever. Maybe you showed your cool chart about how you improve something. Great. But then, ideally, if it's a real job, you're going to be called in person. And more or less, whether you want to call it presenting or not, you are presenting your case for
Yeah.
why they should hire you.
You're presenting yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if you can present the chart that Spencer just had up there, then, and if you can do that concisely, like clearly and concisely, and not 14 tangents and not in an hour, but in whatever, a minute or 3 minutes or whatever your time frame is. You can say, I did this, I increased company X's profit by X%, whatever. You have your story and you have it down clear where you clearly state the problem you solved, who you solved it for, how you avoided failure, and what does success look like. And then learn to zip it and not blab on forever and say, that's my case. That's one example of something I did. So if you can learn how to present that in sort of a packaged form, I think that's already a huge skill to have.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I have used at a very simple level. So this is something that you can use whether you're about to walk into a meeting or you're going to have a job interview or you're going to have to give a presentation. And it's thinking about how do humans make decisions, whether that's to give you a
Mm,
job or change their mind about something, is that there's three things that we need to think about. Because when you think about when you present yourself or you give a presentation, you're trying to make a change happen. And you're trying to change how somebody feels, how somebody thinks, and what somebody does. Those are the three things. And that's based on how we make decisions as a human. We need to emotionally connect to something first, and then we need to trust it. We need to rationalize that decision. And then there's the what do I actually go and do? Do I buy that thing? Do I give you a job? Do
yeah.
I say yes to something? And so, what I do with many people is I say, just start by thinking about the person you're going to be interviewed by and say, what does that person feel, think, and do right now about you? like feel, they
Okay.
probably don't have any feeling. You're just a number, you're another application. They don't, maybe there was something special that they saw and they're curious. So you might also think about, I want to do something in that application that makes them curious to see me, because
Yeah.
that's and thinking they're like, is this person going to be worth having in my top three list of people that might get the job, for example?
Yeah.
And do is the only do they're really doing right now is they're going to give you a job interview. And then the next step is you think, okay, so now let me think about after I've spoken, after I've presented myself, after I've given my presentation, what do I want that person to think, feel, and do? So you might then think
Okay.
like, so afterwards, I want them to feel like, wow, this person is an exciting opportunity to get their skills inside our company. What do you want them to think? They think that absolutely they need to talk to the other people in the team and see if they're a good fit. And what do? I set up the next interview. And then you think about the before and the after, and you think like, what do I need to say? What do I need to show? What do I need to present in order to make that change happen? The feel, think,
Okay.
do,
Yeah.
before, after. And it's like, and you can do that in 5 minutes before you go into a meeting, or you could spend 3 days on figuring that out, depending on how important it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think like there's certain skills that I think like that would really help people start to think about, okay, how can I be a better communicator? Because again, like the other thing that I showed you, if I bring this up on the screen as well, is I started thinking about like what are the skills that an 18-year-old should be developing today? Because I think there's certain things that companies are going to look for. So, like communication, I put at the top. Obviously, I'm very biased, but I think communication has been building over the last 5, 10 years as a critical soft skill anyway. But
Yeah.
clearly now, you have to communicate with clarity, whether it's you're dealing with humans or you're dealing with AI. Communication with AI
Yeah.
is also critical. So I think there's the two parts of it. And then you go to things like execution. Yeah, can you actually do stuff? Can you build stuff and can you launch it and can you fix it? So like these are the things that we need to show. Adaptability, like we have to be adaptable because the world is changing. If the only thing that we know for sure is the world is going to change, then we need to be adaptable.
Yeah.
And taste and leverage I put there as well. But we need to have this like creativity of what are people going to like, what things look good, what will work well. Like we need to have an idea of our personal taste of what things will be out in the world. So I think like this for me starts to, and it's not perfect, it's still like a work in progress. And then on top of that, you need to prove it, which is like the evidence stuff that we spoke about before. But I
Yeah.
just think like communication is one of the critical skills I think that people are going to need.
Because, and it's, well, to bring it back to humanity, because again, you can type all day and have ChatGPT write your report for you and write your book and write it or write anything really. But when you're there again at the job interview, or you got the job and you're at the company meeting and you have to stand up and present your case or whatever, well, we're back to communication. Can you get across what you need to get across, clearly and concisely? And that is presentation skills, because the AI ain't gonna do that for you. Well, I guess at some point, robots.
Yeah, I think for me, it's what I've done with various LLMs, but Claude especially, is I've trained it to be a sparring partner when coming up with, okay, how do I want to communicate a certain thing to a certain person? So
Okay.
absolutely, it can make it quicker. It can, again, it never gets it perfect. You have to still work with it. But like um, I think I shared it with you. Like I have a prompt that like really is not about giving me the answer. It's about challenging my thinking and asking me questions and getting me and re-asking or restating the question. So
Okay.
sometimes it's not about getting it to give you the answer, but helping you get to the answer, which I then think comes up with some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But um, But yeah, I just think at the moment that we absolutely have to be able to communicate things in a way that's with clarity and persuasion if you want to be successful.
I'd like to add a point to what you said about, I really like how you have this, again, we're sticking with a job interview. The pre-interview, what does the interviewer, help me out, is it think, feel, think, and do?
Feel, think, and do. Yeah.
Feel, think, and do. Okay. Before and then after the
Yeah.
interview. So, as I think you know, Spencer, but for everybody else, and well, if you watch any of my stuff, I often talk about Donald Miller and Story Brand. And I'll try to remember to put a link in the description here. They have this theater program where they do, it's like old school radio theater, where in a storytelling theatrical format, they tell this whole story of this game company, like a board game company, and how the brothers inherited from their dying mother, and they have to make the company a success. And it's all about story brand and how you're telling the story. And the goal of Donald Miller, his big secret is that you are not the hero of the story.
Yeah.
So to apply the story brand Donald Miller stuff to the job interview again, if you put yourself in the form of the guide who's going to help the hero, how can you help the company? So that's where you're thinking, just like Spencer says, you're thinking about what they feel, think, do. I'm trying to put my feet in the shoes of that interviewer.
Yeah.
And what do they need? And what do I want them to think? And what do I want them to do? What do I want them to feel? And how can then I help them get to their goal? And it's funny, in the theatrical version of this game, they kept saying, okay, well, why is this good to sell the board game? And the sort of the dummy guy, the big brother, he says, so the company makes money. And he says, well, yeah, but what does it do if the customer buys another game? That we make more money. It's like, no, no, no. What is the benefit? So here, this is very interesting. I don't know if I'm speaking of talking clearly and telling your story clearly. I'm going to put the link down there. It's 1 hour long. It's very good. And if you
Yeah.
get that story brand framework, you'll really have an idea of how to put yourself in the other shoes. And so,
I can help people be a mind reader. So
yeah,
if you're going
yeah.
to think about somebody who's going to interview you, or you are thinking about somebody that you need to pitch to, I can absolutely tell you in 5 words what they're thinking about. And it's,
What?
what will my boss think?
Okay.
When you look, like, what one of the things that one of the sobering statistics I found in the world of work was 40% of B2B purchase decisions end in no decision, because people are scared of risk. Because if I do this thing, if I recruit this person, or I buy this expensive software and it goes wrong, my head is on the chopping block. So when you think about somebody who's going to be interviewing you, they are thinking, is this the right decision? Will this person get on with everybody else in the company?
Okay.
Will they do the job? Will they be able to be onboarded quickly and get up to speed? It's all about, where's the risk?
Yeah.
So like, when I say to anybody when they're thinking about, and this will go into a whole thing about, our emotions, but we have 8 emotions, and emotions are physical and they're unconscious and they happen fast. And out of the 8, we have 5 that are negative, the survival emotions. So anger, fear, shame, hate, disgust. The reason we have 5 that are negative, and they're called our survival emotions, is because of our fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
Absolutely, without fail, if you're going to go to a job interview, or you're going to go to present to somebody, or you're going to speak in a meeting, I guarantee that your audience will be in survival mode, because they're thinking, who is this person? Is this going to be a waste of my time? Are they just trying to pitch me? Can they do what they say they're going to do? They're in defense mode, because that's who we are as humans, like our fight, flight, or freeze. And what we want as communicators, if we're presenting or doing the job interview is we want them in the attachment emotions, which is where joy and excitement and curiosity and things like that live. And because then they're going to take our message much, much more. And the beauty of all of this is the eighth emotion, which is surprise, is the only emotion that can switch somebody from survival to attachment. So if you bring an element of surprise
Okay.
in at the beginning, you will make them curious. So that could be by putting something up on the screen. It could be by sending them something in the application. Like instead of sending them a CV, you send them, yeah, some kind of visual like this that talks about
Right.
here's the 5 things I did last month with AI that
Okay.
you don't do what they ask. You did something different, but it will make you stand out. And they're curious and they're like, who is this person? I want to talk to them. So
Yeah.
how can you do all of these things to get somebody into that like right frame of mind? Because people are all about risk aversion. It's when you go and do that job interview, when you give that presentation, they're in survival mode. How is this going to go wrong? What's the story I'm going to go tell my boss? Where's the risk? And you need to make them feel safe. You need to give them here's how you sell this internally. Here's how you make sure that it's the right decision. Because like we're all the same. It's biology. Emotions are just biology. We haven't changed in tens of thousands of years. So it's in a way, it's like those 8 emotions are a shortcut to everything. It's how you can manage your nerves, everything. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
No, no, I love that because of all of those emotions, you said sort of the one where we have a little bit of influence, where we can do something about it, kind of
Yeah,
sounds like surprise. Is
yeah.
that right?
The
So
most
that's where,
powerful emotion in communication, definitely.
okay. So something that's out of the ordinary or just a little different or unexpected thing, and
Yeah,
that will then,
you're trying to create a curiosity gap in somebody's mind. You're trying to make them think,
okay.
huh, I didn't know that. Or what? I want to know more.
Yeah,
Or, oh, this might help me in the future. So, yeah, and there's a million ways you can do that from the format to a statistic to a story to there's many things that you can do, but you want to create an element of surprise. And I don't mean suddenly go,
right,
or
right.
like, so it needs to be a relevant surprise, but something that makes people see you in a curious way, not in a defensive, like, is this going to
Okay.
be a waste of
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
time? Is this somebody I should, so you want them to feel quickly out of the gate, I'm happy I'm talking to this person. It's a good decision.
Okay. So a relevant surprise, not like you say something completely, you're going to wear rain boots and
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Because,
polka dot.
yeah, if they think you're weird, that will keep them in
Yeah.
survival mode. They'll be in
Okay.
like defense mode. You want them to, and why is surprise why does surprise do this in the brain? Like if you think back to when we were all running around, 400,000 years ago, it might be that you met somebody and they said, hey, you know what? Over that mountain around the corner, there was this amazing blueberry bush with lots of fruit on it. Like the surprise works because we are looking for things that will help us be successful in the future, that will help us survive in the future. So going back to what you said, Bradley, about, yeah, if you're telling a story, I always want my audience to feel like they're the hero of the story and
Yeah.
I'm the mentor. It's the same thing. You're
Yeah.
kind of trying to say, like, you're the hero. I'm going to make sure that you're going to be successful and you're going to go do this. How are you going to be successful in the future? So that's what you're trying to say. If you're going to a job interview, you're basically trying to get across to that person that you're going to make them a superhero
Yeah.
because they recruited you, because it was a
Yeah.
good decision, that you did good things for the company, and you need to make them feel like the risks are a lot less.
Yeah. And to continue on the hero's journey, I'm the guide. I'm going to help you become a superhero. And how am I going to do that? Because I have a plan.
Magic weapons as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic reps. I have a surprises, but I have a plan. And ideally I have some experience, like you said, with your chart. I did this, this, and this. And
Yeah.
so I have proven experience that I can make you even more successful.
Yeah. If you
You
if you
know,
look if you look at the Nike marketing machine,
yeah,
that the whole marketing communications of Nike, whether they realize it or not, I guess they do, is the hero's journey.
yeah,
Because I'm a
yeah,
runner. I love running. So and I want to do a marathon. And
yeah,
I think I can barely run 100 meters. It is impossible for me to run a marathon.
yeah,
So that's a bit like, Luke Skywalker when he was working on the farm didn't
yeah,
think he would ever do anything audacious. And so, as a runner, and I get into the Nike world, their message is, first of all, the call to adventure. The call to adventure is just do it. That's their
right.
call to adventure, to get off the
Yes,
sofa, to put your trainers on, to get out of that door and make a start. But then when
yeah,
you're out there, you have things like the Nike app. So the Nike app is basically their friends and allies because you've got
yeah,
a running coach in your ear going, "Well done, you just did 100 meters, you did a kilometer, go on." So
yeah,
they give you the friends and allies. There's the kind of like they're the classic mentor, like they're the Obi-Wan Kenobi. They're helping you,
yeah,
and they give you the magic weapons instead of a lightsaber. They give you the trainers, they give you the app, they give you the
yeah,
events. So if you look at it, it's the hero's journey.
yeah.
Classic. Yeah.
No, if you listen to too much Donald Miller and Storybrand, he'll say, "I'm so sorry, but I'm going to ruin all movies and all books
Yes.
for you because most movies and books follow some version of the hero's journey."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
why is that the case? Because it works.
Yeah.
And that's also where, because I like you mentioned curiosity gap. You could even, okay, this is a, sort of an advanced tactic here, but if you can get your interviewer curious and even tease him along a little bit, right? I'm going to tell you how I increased the profits by the last place where I work by 15%, but I'm going to tell you that a little bit later,
Yeah.
right? It's a little snarky, but they'll be like, "Well, I want to hear how do you do that? Why don't you tell me now?" "Oh, I don't know. No,
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there."
I
But
always
that's
say to people that if you're given a presentation, that the most important slide, the most valuable real estate is the very first slide. Because
mm,
normally, as you walk into a room, that's already up on the
that's it.
screen and it stays on the screen for 10 minutes whilst people are bringing coffee, chatting, how's the
Right.
kids, all that kind of stuff. And actually, most people just put the name of the meeting, the date, their name, whatever. And actually, that's where you put your main message. And you can do it
Yeah,
as how we'll make an extra 5 million in
yeah,
Q3.
yeah,
So when anybody sees that, they're like, I want to know how they're going to do that.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
can use the kind of like the very first slide of your presentation as a way to create a curiosity gap
yeah,
before you even start talking about the content of the meeting. So I think
yeah,
it's like you said, it's a bit like the YouTube thumbnail. I want to create a
yeah,
curiosity gap that you want to
yeah,
watch. Like,
yeah, yeah,
what is 5 ways to make a million, or go from 1 million, go from $0 to $1 million. Like you're creating a curiosity gap because I want to know how. Like,
yeah,
how
yeah.
how can you apply that to a job interview? How can you apply that to I'm about to go in and present something to somebody somewhere?
Okay, I'm going to put us on the spot here as we wrap up. And what then for our talk we just had?
Yeah.
What might be the slide? What might the slide say based on what we just discussed? That's the teaser or the curiosity gap or the surprise element of our YouTube video we just recorded. Any ideas? I know that's hard to be put on the spot.
Why a curiosity gap is the most important communication something. That's too long. Because the curiosity gap, if you don't know what curiosity gap means,
Right,
that might
right.
make you curious enough to do it. Or you would go with something around like the secret something to help you get a job in the world of AI, or
Oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
five important skills to thrive in the world of AI, or something like that.
yeah.
As a
So
one.
then if we were, see, I don't know
But
who
if
our
you're watching
audience
this
is.
video, if you're watching this video, what do you think it would be
Yes,
cool?
yes.
If you've listened to us, what would you? Yeah.
And speaking of AI, I'm definitely, of course, going to ask AI, hey AI, what is our banner headline for this
Yeah,
talk?
ask it how to create a curiosity gap in the mind of the viewer.
Yeah. But you're right. If you don't know what a curiosity gap is, then it doesn't intrigue you because you don't really know what that means. And so if you go a little simpler, like I like your job interview, how to, five surprise tactics to get that job, to ace that job interview.
Yeah.
Five
But it's
five
also
ways.
a
Yeah.
curiosity gap can also sometimes, I think, like specifically YouTube thumbnails have become very formulaic. So you see lots of five this, five that. You see that, yeah, exactly. You see there how to go from $0 to $1 million, or
Right. Right.
so I think it's, yeah. Sometimes it's a bit like Seth Godin in the Purple Cow, like. Something remarkable is something worth making a remark about. And normally that's because it's weird, it's different, it's unusual, it's new.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and again, that creates the curiosity gap because people are always thinking, can this help me be more successful in the future? Can it get me to a place in the future where I do better? So I think it's that balance between how do you give people a sense of they'll be safer, more successful in the future,
Yeah.
and I need to
Will
know the map.
will watching Bradley and Spencer's video help me with will change your life now? Will help me make $1 million this weekend?
Yeah,
No, is a quick answer to that one.
yeah,
No. Will it help me potentially get that job interview? Will it help me prepare for my next presentation? Will it help me, a teenager or 20 something or any age, but because we keep thinking about our kids, will it help me communicate better to my company?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I
It's not
think
very sexy.
if there's one thing that people take away from this video, and what I want people to know is you have to absolutely think about how do I make an emotional connection with the person I'm talking to, and how do I prove to them that this is a good decision? Emotion plus trust is how people make decisions. So,
Okay.
it's about not thinking about you and what you need to say about yourself. Start with what are they thinking, feeling, and doing right now?
Okay.
And how do I want that to change? What do I need to
Yeah.
say to make that change happen? Because
Okay.
when we communicate, it's all about we're trying to make a change happen, change how they think, change how they feel, change what they do. And most people start with themselves because we're all our own hero in our own story.
Right.
But with communication, it's absolutely about seeing the other person as the hero of the
Yeah.
story. And how
Yeah.
do you help them? How do you help them be more successful?
Yeah. I wish I had learned that a little earlier, like a
Me
lot
too.
earlier.
Me too,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. It's a
I think
superpower.
that's one of the themes I would like to have in our channel here is also, I like these witty titles, like there's a good one, sort of, what I wish I knew then, something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So I think
10
that could be
things,
helpful.
10 things I wish they taught me at school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. We will, well, you will see, dear viewer and listener, you will see what the title of this episode will be when
Yeah.
we get a summary from AI to tell us what it was about.
And feel free to tell us how it could be better.
Yes, and what you'd like to hear next. And I'll put a link. I'm saying this to myself to not forget. I'm going to put a link to the poll. I also, please, if you go to the poll and there's something you'd like, some other thing, please put a comment in there, even if it's just one word, whatever. And then I'm going to put a link to that theater program from Donald Miller and Storybrand. It says
Nice.
it's 2.5 hours, but the theater part's only an hour, and it's very good. It's almost like a marketing 101 education in an hour. I'm such a fan. It's so good. And that's it. All right. This has been episode, what are we, one? If last one was zero?
Yeah, let's call it. It's
All
done
right.
officially.
Good.
Episode 1.
We're done. Thanks for watching. If you're still here, you are a rock star. Please leave a comment. Let us know what we can do better. And if this was terrible, send us a direct message. Right?
No, don't.
No, don't.
Take care, everybody.
All
Thanks
right.
for your time. We
Bye
appreciate
bye.
it.
See you next Saturday.